the CMA on a group ride. We're going up to an event just south of Jacksonville called Riding into History, which is it's basically a collection of vintage motorcycles from all over the world. We have some guests with us today. You see some non-patched members. I believe 3 of the bikes today are guests. We're on our way up on a beautiful day, albeit a little warm here in beautiful Central Florida. So, just a little update on my wife, who, for those of you who might have seen some of my earlier videos, know has been looking to get her motorcycle endorsement, and she did fail her first road test. She actually dropped the bike, failed because of dropping the bike, and retook the test about 10 days later, and she did pass. So we have another licensed motorcyclist amongst us. Wiley single file. Beautiful country out here, all farmland. So I had a rather adventurous ride to work yesterday, which was Friday. Now the thing about my bike, I have a 99 Road King. And a reoccurring issue with this bike has been the fuel light. Because when my fuel light comes on, I have a 4.9 gallon tank. But when the fuel light comes on, there's still a little over 2 gallons in the tank. So of course the temptation is always to then start pushing that light, which normally I don't do, but I have to admit last week I was doing. And my light came on, I believe it was Wednesday, on the way in. And I usually know I'm safe for 3 trips back and forth to work, because work is about 12 or so miles from home. So made my 3 trips, which would have left me at work, and figured I would fuel up on the way home. But you know how things are. I was running late one night, feeling a little tired, figured I would push it, and figuring I had plenty of fuel. And I did in fact make it home. But then the next morning, which would have been the perfect time to fuel up, I had forgotten all about the fact that I had meant to fuel up the day before, and that was a big mistake. Because I was about 3/4 of a mile away from the job, and the bike just died. And I mean just died. You know that out of fuel feeling when it just kind of kaput. It happened to be coming up to a stop sign when it happened, so I didn't have a lot of momentum going. But it was enough to get off to the shoulder of the road. There was a little church there, and I pulled over onto the shoulder of the grass. And had to make the call of shame to my wife to tell her that I was out of gas and see if she could possibly run me over a fuel can with a little bit of fresh gas in it, just enough to get me to work and then to a gas station. And as I did that, some guy comes pulling up on a lawnmower. The guy was a landscaper for the church, and he said, "Hey, are you okay?" Which is nice, because anyone who lives in Florida knows that people do not always look out for each other here. It's not the friendliest bunch of people down here. But this guy was just checking to see if I was all right, and I told him, "Yeah, I just ran out of gas. I have my wife coming." He said, "Don't worry about having her come. I have gas on my trailer." And the guy went over and brought over a gas can, and said, "Take whatever you need." And of course, I just took about a half a gallon or so. try to give the guy $5, and he wouldn't take it. You know, he said that he believed that he introduced himself as Gilbert, and he said that his belief was that we all have to help each other out. So he wouldn't take the money, and he saved the day for me. He really made my day with that. Kind of restores your faith in humanity sometimes when somebody, you know, makes a small gesture like that. But he really did help me out of a bind. So, you know, there's still good people out there, guys. When sometimes easy to get discouraged when you see some of the things that go on in the world, but there are people out there who are still willing to lend a hand, and people who have good hearts, and people who have good intention, and there are people who look out for, you know, their fellow brothers and sisters, and are there when you need them. So that's it for that story. Have a great Memorial Day weekend, and let's not forget what Memorial Day weekend is all about. Spend some time in remembrance of those who sacrificed everything for the freedoms that we enjoy every day, and give thanks to those who have served and to those who are still serving. My son getting ready to go to boot camp on July 13th, I believe. So, you know, these things all come closer and closer to home and closer to the heart. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy all those barbecues.